Hey Swifties! Welcome to a brand new episode of Swiftie School, where together we walk Clownelia Street covering the latest news and Easter eggs from our fearless leader, Taylor Swift. I'm your host, Reagan Baylee, and it is enchanting to have you here. Now that we're out of the woods, let's get into today's episode.
It's another great day to be alive at the same time as Taylor Swift for the very last time. Welcome back to the podcast. And as always, this episode is not affiliated with or sponsored by Taylor Swift or Taylor Nation. Although I would love to be associated with them, I am not. It is a delight and pleasure to welcome you to the final episode of Swiftie School. I cannot even believe we've made it this far. Consider this a comprehensive recap of all things that have happened since the inception of Swiftie School, the podcast. But not to fear, me and my Taylor content is not going anywhere. Simply the podcast is. And I will explain that a little bit further. Now, let me get you up to speed on everything that's been going on and how I landed upon this decision. A couple of weeks ago, basically the night of the final Eras tour, which is low-key serendipitous and weird. Not serendipitous, but strange. The Instagram account for Swiftie School podcast was suspended. RIP. It was suspended because we took my own Eras tour footage from Reagan Baylee and put it onto Swiftie School. And they basically deemed that as like copyright infringement, or I forgot impersonation is what they said. And that's not really my full reasoning for ending the podcast. It felt like a sign that maybe it's time to end the podcast, but I thought I would just share that little updated note with you. Now, basically, the Eras tour is over. We know this. And I have to be realistic with myself about what are my goals as a content creator and where do I want to put my time. And I absolutely love sharing my love for Taylor Swift with the internet. That is not going anywhere. But transparently, I spend a lot of money and time on a lot of things that do not make me money. And I have to find a good balance of things that I do for like my own fulfillment and then things that I do for like actually paying my bills. And all things Swiftie School, when all is said and done, just to give you a comprehensive image of how much time, effort, love, and money has been put into this, costs me over $1,000, closer to like $2,000 a month to keep afloat, from paying my podcast editor to paying my assistant to help me come up with free downloads for Patreon, research for episodes, running the Instagram account, research for all of these different things, doing threads, live tweeting or whatever it is. My time that I put into recording, engaging with people in the comments of Spotify episodes, setting up, things for podcasting. There is so much time that's put into that. And for me personally and my goals, I really want to continue reaching a broader audience. And there is so much more to me than my love for Taylor Swift. And I started this podcast literally on a whim. I started this literally at a snap of a finger. I had the idea, and that's something I love about myself, is that I love to prove to myself that I can do something. I hate giving up, but I'm not giving up, and I'll explain why. I love to prove something to myself and to other people, and I love to prove people wrong, and I was curious about podcasting. I know I have a lot to say, and I am crazy proud of myself that in the year, and I guess it's like closer to almost to, well, no, I think it was like a year and a half since I started Swiftie School. Not only did I publish 68 total episodes, I amassed over 27,000 Spotify followers, over 62,000 in consumption hours, over 600,000 total streams. And on social media, Swiftie School, between the Instagram, the Threads account, the YouTube, the TikTok, was close to 50,000 followers, which is crazy. Now, all that being said, I am walking away from this incredibly proud of myself for achieving all of those things and learning a completely new skill, which is podcasting. The reality, if I'm putting my business hat back on, the reality of podcasting is that, in my experience, it's really not lucrative. You have to find ways outside of podcasting. I personally never wanted to put ads on my podcast. I had explored looking into it, but I ran into issues with the fact that I used the word Swiftie in the title, which was dumb in hindsight. But again, this was something I created really quickly and kind of overnight, and I didn't really think through it. And the word Swiftie, we know, is copyrighted by Taylor. So there's that component. And then, monetizing a podcast, you have to put ads, and I never really wanted to do that. So then the only other option for monetizing the podcast was selling merch, which I wasn't super passionate about, and I never wanted to like put my half effort into something. And then I had the Patreon. And with the Patreon, that was a whole secondary thing where, I was then creating content specifically for Patreon, doing bonus episodes and all this stuff. And I felt in my heart of hearts that the time that my team and I are putting into this, and again, it's not just about the money, that's a portion of it, of course, but the time that I am putting into this, I could be creating more content for my YouTube, for Reagan Baylee, for all my social channels, and really beefing that up to reach the goals that I want, which is to be a creator that has millions of followers and can reach, bigger and broader horizons than I am now. So as of now, to give you an update, I will be closing my Patreon at the end of December 2024. And then, of course, where can you find the Swiftivities? I am not going anywhere when it comes to Taylor content. I love talking about Taylor. This is something I, find so much joy in. And just because I'm like, oh, I'm not monetizing the podcast, or, oh, the podcast is a big time suck for me, it doesn't mean that I'm like, I still like Taylor, you guys. Hello. I'm obsessed with Taylor. So you can continue enjoying all things Swiftivities. I encourage you to join my Instagram broadcast channel if that feature is available to you over on Instagram. If you are not on Instagram, maybe you're younger. I know I have a lot of younger listeners. Check me out I repost all my content. So Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, if it's still around, Threads, Instagram, YouTube, all of that is still there. And I will still, of course, anytime there's award shows, clowning happening, I'm still going to be making my Taylor videos. So do not fear. Taylor content is not going anywhere from me. It is just shifting away from this medium, if that makes sense. So that being said, I talked a little bit about what Swiftie School was able to achieve in 2024 and some of the lifetime analytics, if you will. But I want to talk about my personal Eras Tour journey because the Eras Tour is officially over. I attended 6 total shows at the Eras Tour. I attended opening night, 2 of the Los Angeles dates, 2 of the London shows, and then closing night on December 8th. And, from my perspective, I got to see a lot evolve, a lot change with the tour. And I think I'm really blessed for that reason. And it was really, honestly, an honor to see Taylor blossom from opening night to closing night. And I think that I love to take experiences that I've had in my life, even if it's something as trivial as attending a concert, and try to find takeaways that I can apply to mine. And something that I love about the Eras Tour is we got to see this sort of like character arc, if you will, of Taylor, and sort of this story of, emerging from the ashes. And I think that's so awesome to like look at a woman who seemingly has it all, watch her struggle, push through, fight for her happiness, and find that all in the span of something that we watched unfold before our eyes. And I'm so incredibly grateful to, of course, be alive at the same time as her, but be able to see that unfold. It's so, so freaking cool. One of my biggest achievements to date in my career was attending the Eras Tour film premiere. I cannot believe that I landed an invite to that. And if there is some sort of second documentary or part 2 to the film, I would love to be invited again. But that was such a career highlight for me and such a massive achievement. And I feel like, reporting on the tour on Access Hollywood, starting and growing Swiftie School, growing the Patreon, and my community gaining over 100,000 followers over the past year on Instagram. I have found so much of myself along the way, and I really have so many of you guys to thank for that, because my love for Taylor Swift and sharing that online has allowed me to mature as a woman, feel more confident in who I am, and find so much joy and happiness. So I am so grateful, truthfully. Now, shifting to the Eras Tour itself and all that Taylor was able to achieve, this tour, you guys, lasted 21 months. 21 months! That's crazy. Taylor played a total of 149 shows. If we were to have included Vienna, that would have been 152 shows, which is absolutely crazy. She sold a total of over $2 billion in tickets. Billion. $2 billion and some change. Double. Keyword double the gross ticket sales of any other concert tour in history. This does not include this is also crazy. This does not include the resold tickets through places like StubHub, Ticketmaster, Game Time, all that jazz. So she sold $2 billion just on like initial sales. I'm sure if you were to do resale included, it would be well over 10 billion, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's insane. Every single one of those 149 shows was sold out, and over 10.1 million people attended the concerts, which is so bananas and crazy. The biggest single night of attendance on the Eras Tour was in Melbourne. How do I say it? You guys know what I'm talking about. Australia. On February 16th, 2024, with 96,006 people in attendance. Almost 100,000 people in one night is totally crazy. Now, you and I both know there were a lot of notable moments on the Eras Tour, so I wanted to recap some of them with you and take you down a little trip of memory lane. Why don't we? Now, during the tour, Taylor released not one, not two, but 3 albums. The Speak Now Taylor's version, 1989 Taylor's version, and of course, the beloved Straight from the Tortured Poets Department. In addition to releasing 3 albums, she also released the Eras Tour concert film and the Eras Tour concert book. And so many celebrities attended the Eras Tour, and so many guests made appearances on the Eras Tour. She was joined by people such as Jack Antonoff, the Haim sisters, Hayley Williams, Sabrina Carpenter, Gracie Abrams, Aaron Dessner, Florence Welch, Phoebe Bridgers, Marcus Mumford, Maren Morris, Ice Spice, and of course, Ed Sheeran, which is crazy. That's a lot more people than I remembered. Now, surprise songs really took us on a wild ride, and as of November of 2024, Taylor had performed an impressive array of over 130 different surprise songs during the Eras Tour. This includes tracks that really span in her entire discography and all the way from her debut album to her most recent releases. I would love to know from you guys what your favorite mashup was. I mean, how is a girl to choose? I really don't know. And then, of course, she found love on the Eras Tour. And we have, dating back to 2023, Travis Kelce entering the picture, him attending the Eras Tour show on July 8th at Arrowhead Stadium, which, hello, is like so picture perfect looking back. And then by the end of the Eras Tour, Taylor will have played 101 shows since the first show that Travis attended. So we love that for our girl. Now, of course, the Tortured Poets Department is still in her glittering prime, but Taylor really reinvented the tour as we knew it when she released Tortured Poets Department, and then she removed some of the songs from the existing set list and then kind of rearranged things around, smushed some eras together, shortened some other eras, and added in a full-on set list for Tortured Poets Department, along with countless new outfits for each era. There were a total of I can't even remember, 200 outfits or something for this tour. It's absolutely crazy when you look at all of them, when you see it all on paper. And this tour, I know you guys already know this, really had monumental cultural and economic impact pretty much worldwide, which is wild. From things like economic boosts to record-breaking sales, the cultural phenomenon itself, the success of the film, and then, of course, the small business impact was really notable. And then, local businesses like hotels and restaurants and all that jazz was absolutely crazy. And then now we've kind of rounded things out. The tour is over. Taylor just attended a end of Eras Tour party, I guess, hosted by Travis himself, which is so stinking cute and adorable. I would love to know the party planning company that was involved in this, because it looks so fun. No stone was left unturned with the amount of detail that they put into this. It was truly immaculate. And I kind of have a belief that there's a Swiftie in that party planning company, because chef's kiss, my hat is off to you. My 22 hat is off to you, because that party looked so freaking fun. And I would love to hear more about it, but I doubt we will. Now, it's the end of a decade, with the start of 2025. So what do we have to look forward to? Well, we have the Grammys on February 2nd. Taylor is up for 6 total nominations. And if you're a member of the Patreon, I encourage you to listen to the most recent bonus episode, because I talk about my predictions for 2025 in more depth and sort of those 6 total nominations and my thoughts behind them, what I think Taylor has the best chance of winning. And then, of course, we still have Hello, the 2 re-records ahead of us, Debutation. We've got potentially whatever this documentary situation is. Taylor may be entering her directorial era. The Chiefs still have to finish out their season, so I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Taylor at the Chiefs game. And possibly, I don't know, Female Rage the Musical. We have a lot to look forward to, you guys. That is all I have for you for our end of a decade, start of an age, the final episode of Swiftie School. I want to extend my heartfelt thank you, genuinely, to all of you for tuning in and supporting me on, honestly, like my biggest side quest to date. I really never had intentions of starting a podcast, and this sort of just, I don't know, the dominoes cascaded in a line, and here we were. Like I said, my tailored content's not going anywhere, just the form in which I present it to you is shifting. So I highly, highly encourage you, if you don't already, to check me out on social media. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you want to see from me when it comes to the rest of my content. And if you have any requests, let me know too. I have big goals and big dreams for all things Reagan Baylee and my brand as we know it. And of course, Taylor will forever be a part of that. So thank you guys so very much for joining the final episode of Swiftie School Podcast. My name's Reagan Baylee. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, it was another great year to be alive at the same time as Taylor Swift. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I know all too well how busy life can be, and I am so grateful that you chose to stay. Now just know this is me trying, and I would greatly appreciate if you took a minute to leave a review or maybe share this episode with a fellow Swiftie. Make sure you join my broadcast channel on Instagram for more Swiftivities, and long story short, this love is real, and I'm beyond grateful for your support. See you next time.